We found very encouraging results. We're very excited by the results that we saw with EMP-01 in this small study. Meaningful improvements on the so-called LSAS, that's the primary endpoint that's widely used. It's really important to note that this is a measure of behavior, not symptoms.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Dr. Srinivas Rao. He is the CEO of AtaiBeckley. And Dr. Rao, it's great to see you again. How are you?
I am doing well, Steve. It's great to see you again. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so the company out with really encouraging news off of phase 2A data for a drug you're looking for social anxiety. So maybe remind everyone a little bit about this test and really what these encouraging results are.
Yeah, so just to backtrack a little bit, EMP-01 is our development candidate of our MDMA. So it's a single enantiomer of MDMA, very different pharmacology than MDMA. And we had some very encouraging results in our phase 1 trial that really showed the differentiation of that asset compared to, or that compound compared to MDMA. And we really wanted to develop it further. We wanted to learn a little bit more about it. Also, we wanted to look into an indication that's been sort of untapped, particularly in the psychedelic space. And so we chose to go after social anxiety disorder. Huge unmet medical need, really no new approvals in that space, particularly for chronic social anxiety disorder, no new approvals in over 20 years. And there have been some more recent trials that have been done, but kind of a different approach there. So really, we were doing two things with this one trial and kind of breaking new ground on both fronts. The long and short of it on the efficacy, this was again one point of clarification. This was an exploratory study, so we're really looking at safety mainly because again, very little data to kind of model things out for social anxiety disorder with a psychedelic. Short trial, a small trial, comparatively speaking, 6 weeks in duration, 2 doses. We found very encouraging results. We're very excited by the results that we saw with EMP-01 in this small study. Meaningful improvements on the so-called LSAS, that's the primary endpoint that's widely used. It's really important to note that this is a measure of behavior, not symptoms.
Right.
So most of the time when we're talking about like depression or anxiety, you're normally talking about things where it's a symptom. How anxious are you right now? What's your mood like right now, in essence? This one is a measure of behavior, like how likely are you to have a party or throw a party or something like, or go to a party. So it's an interesting scale. It doesn't move as rapidly as a symptom because your mood can fluctuate throughout the day, but whether you're inclined to go to a party or something or throw a party does not move quite that quickly. So given the short trial duration, the results that we found were really encouraging. I mean, similar in magnitude to what you see with SSRIs, but in a very short period of time. And we were actually changing behavior quickly, which doesn't typically happen with SSRIs. So it looked almost like therapy here.
Yeah, and so in the end, as you mentioned, this is a really unmet need. So any improvement is obviously positive, but what you were seeing obviously is much more encouraging than not having treatments at all. So I would think that from what you've said about your phase 1 and now your phase 2, it seems like you could potentially be on the right track.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, so we learned more about the compound, and it is in fact differentiated. It's got a lot of interesting features, very psychedelic in nature, but there are some elements of it that are more like an MDMA. So it's kind of got this interesting blend of activities. And then indeed on SAD itself, we've learned quite a bit. We know what we need to do to run a larger trial at this.
Yeah. In the news release, you talk about this was top line data, so there's still more data to glean from the study as well. Can you sort of talk about that part of it and how then you move forward?
Yeah, so top line, you typically limit the number of analyses so you can get those results relatively quickly. We have a number of other endpoints in that trial, including more subjective endpoints like the spin and other things that also read upon social symptoms that may move more acutely than behavior. So we want to look at that. So yeah, I mean, these are sort of things that we'll be getting over the course of the next, month to 2 months. And then once we have all that data in hand, we'll be in a much better position to actually know what the next trial should look like and the size of it, et cetera.
Yeah. Lastly, just about the process itself, it sounds like it can be a cumbersome process. There's a lot of things that you have to go through right now. But are you pretty happy with where you're at right now as far as the development is concerned?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, this is our third pipeline asset. It's the earliest stage of the assets. It's the reason that we're interested, where I've always been interested in this, is because of the unique profile of the compound. It's not just another psychedelic. It does seem to have these unique properties. I mean, every psychedelic obviously has unique properties, but this one maybe more so with that MDMA-like activity. I mean, like the entactogenic activity. So I think that that is pretty unique. Probably has some important therapeutic implications. It may be better suited for certain types of indications, and that's what we're looking into more.
All right, we look forward to hearing more about it. Dr. Rao, thank you so much. Great update as always, and we look forward to our next conversation, okay?
Wonderful. Look forward to it. Thanks, Steve.
All right, Dr. Srinivas Rao, the CEO of AtaiBeckley.